The sun bled orange across the cracked New Mexico horizon when the old Ford pickup rattled to a stop outside the dusty corral. A single floodlight buzzed overhead, illuminating a circle of men in worn Stetsons and women clutching paper cups of coffee gone cold. Inside the ring of light stood a girl, no older than 20, her wrists bound with baling twine, her chin lifted as if the night itself had no claim on her. The auctioneer's voice cracked like a whip, Lot 47, Apache blood, strong back, quiet tongue. Hueye started 200? That was the hook that snared Elias Hawthorne forever. Elias had come for a cutting horse, nothing more. It was 42, widowed 3 years, and the ranch was bleeding money faster than a stuck calf. But when the girl's eyes, black as obsidian and twice as sharp, met his across the floodlit dirt, something inside him folded like a house of cards. It raised his paddle before his mind caught up. 500, he barked, voice rough from disuse. The crowd murmured. 500 was a monk's fee bill. The auctioneer grinned. Sold to the gentleman in the red cap. They shoved her toward the truck. She walked like someone who had forgotten how to be afraid. Elias opened the passenger door, expecting her to climb in. Instead she stopped, turned, and spoke in Spanish so pure it sounded like church bells. No es un tatuaje, es una marca de la subasta, dijo, rolling up the sleeve of her threadbare dress. Burned into the soft skin of her forearm was a crude brand, a circle with a running horse inside. The flesh around it was still pink, angry. Elias felt the ground tilt. The rancher wept, silent, had tears that tasted of shame and something older than language. It didn't speak until they were 10 miles down the rutted road, the auction lights swallowed by darkness. I'm taking you to the bus station in Albuquerque, he said. You can go anywhere. Ella gave you money. She studied him the way a hawk studies a field mouse. You bought me, señor. In my world, that makes you responsible. I don't want responsibility. He won't, he stopped. What did he want? Absolution? A do-over on the last 20 years? I want you free. Freedom is not a bus ticket, she said. Freedom is choosing who you belong to. Her name was Nayeli, which meant I love you in a language the conquistadors had tried to bury. She refused the bus station. Instead she walked into the ranch house, rolled up her sleeves, and started scrubbing floors that hadn't seen soap since Elias' wife died. It protested. She ignored him. Within a week the kitchen smelled of cedar smoke and fresh tortillas. Within a month the cattle had names again, stupid, affectionate names like buttercup and sirloin. Elias caught himself laughing at breakfast and hated how good it felt. But the brand on her arm never faded. So many nights he woke to find her on the porch, tracing the raised scar with a fingertip, whispering to the stars in dîner. He wanted to ask what she said, but the words stuck behind his teeth like burrs. The first twist came in late October. A norther blew in, the kind that turns breath to ice and hope to dust. Elias found the herd scattered across the north pasture, 30 head missing, probably stolen by rustlers who knew he was too broke to hire hands. He saddled his gelding and rode out alone, rage and despair braided tight. Nayeli followed on foot, barefoot, carrying nothing but a wool blanket and a tin cup of coffee. They found the cattle at dawn, penned in an arroyo by 3 men with rifles and the lazy confidence of predators. Elias' hand went to the punto 30 on his saddle. Nayeli's went to his wrist. Wait, she breathed. Then, louder, in Spanish, hermanos, the coffee is hot. Come warm your hands before you take what isn't yours. The rustlers laughed, until they saw her eyes. Something in them made the tallest one lower his rifle. She walked straight into their camp, poured coffee like a hostess at a garden party, and began to talk. Not about law or right or wrong. About her mother, sold the same way at 14. About the brand that still woke her screaming. About the night she decided the only power left was the power to choose kindness anyway. By the time the sun cleared the mesa, the rustlers were helping Elias drive the cattle home. One of them, a kid with a jailhouse tattoo on his neck, pressed a crumpled 20 into Nayeli's hand. For the coffee, señorita. And for, whatever that was. Elias didn't sleep that night. He sat at the kitchen table staring at the brand on her arm, now hidden under a sleeve she'd sewn from one of his dead wife's dresses. You could have let me shoot them, he said. I could have, she agreed. But then I'd be the brand, not the girl. Winter hardened. The ranch teetered on foreclosure. The bank sent letters in red ink. Elias took side jobs welding pipelines, coming home with hands blistered and eyes hollow. Nayeli sold tamales at the farmer's market, her smile a small sun in the cold. She saved every penny in a coffee can labeled future. Elias pretended not to notice. The second twist arrived with the spring thaw. A letter came, no return address, postmarked Window Rock. Inside was a single photograph, a woman in a hospital bed, tubes in her arms, eyes identical to Nayeli's. On the back, in shaky handwriting, your mother asks for you. She has little time. Elias found Nayeli in the barn, currying a horse that didn't need it. "Ella drive you," he said. "It's a reservation hospital. They won't let you past the gate. Ella wait in the truck." The drive took 6 hours. They spoke little. When they arrived, the security guard took one look at Nayeli's brand, now a pale circle against brown skin, and waved them through without a word. Elias waited in the parking lot, watching monsoon clouds stack like bruises on the horizon. Nayeli was gone 3 days. On the 4th, she emerged carrying a small bundle wrapped in a quilt. Not a baby, an elderly woman, frail as a sparrow, eyes filmed with cataracts. "My grandmother," Nayeli explained. "The only family I have left. The hospital released her to die at home. But she has no home." Elias looked at the woman, then at the ranch truck with its cracked windshield and bald tires. "Plenty of room," he said. They named her Atsa, Eagle. She spoke no English, only Navajo, and her hands shook when she tried to hold a cup. Nayeli bathed her, fed her, sang lullabies older than the mesa. Elias built a ramp for the porch steps. The coffee can labeled future now read family. Samir brought the third twist, the one that nearly broke them. The bank foreclosed. The auction was set for the 1st of August, same floodlight, same circle of men in Stetsons, only this time it was Elias' life on the block. He stood in the corral at midnight, pitching hay he wouldn't need, when Nayeli appeared beside him. "I have a plan," she said. "It better involve a winning lottery ticket. It involves people." She'd been writing letters, hundreds of them. To the rustlers who they returned the cattle. To the women at the farmer's market. To the kid with the jailhouse tattoo, now working at a feed store in Gallup. To every soul who tasted her tamales or heard her story. The plan was simple, a potluck auction. Bring a dish, bid with whatever you can spare, cash, labor, forgiveness. The day arrived blistering hot. Elias expected 20 people, maybe 30. By noon the ranch yard was a riot of pickup trucks and folding tables. Navajo grandmothers laid out blue corn mush. A biker gang from Farmington brought brisket. The Roostlers, now calling themselves the Second Chance Wranglers, hauled in a smoker the size of a pickup bed. Someone strung Christmas lights between the cottonwoods. A mariachi band tuned up beside the corral. The bidding started slow. A jar of homemade salsa went for $10. A quilt Nayeli had sewn from Elias' wife's old dresses fetched 50. Then Atsa shuffled forward, leaning on Nayeli's arm. She raised a trembling hand and placed a small pouch on the table. Inside, a turquoise necklace, heavy with silver, older than statehood. "Mamoters," she whispered in Navajo. Nayeli translated, voice cracking. She wore it the day she was taken. She wants the ranch to stay. Silence fell. Then the kid with the jailhouse tattoo stepped up. "I got 200 saved for my little heels braces." I slapped the bills down. A woman from the market added a check for 300, proceeds from tamale sales. The Second Chance Wranglers pledged a month of free labor. By dusk the total stood at $42,317, enough for the back taxes, enough to breathe. But the real climax came after the numbers. The auctioneer, a retired judge who they'd driven in from Santa Fe, cleared his throat. "One more lot," he said. Lot 48. One ranch. One family. One future. I looked at Elias. Starting bid, one act of kindness, payable daily. Elias' knees buckled. Nayeli caught him. The crowd parted. Atsa tottered forward, pressed the turquoise necklace into Elias' calloused palm. For the girl who chose you, she said in Navajo. Nayeli translated, tears streaming. And for the man who learned to be chosen. The floodlight flickered. Someone started clapping. Then cheering. Then singing, first in Spanish, then Navajo, then a country song Elias' wife used to hum. He looked at Nayeli, at Atsa, at the sea of faces lit by Christmas lights and something brighter. The brand on Nayeli's arm caught the glow, no longer a mark of ownership but a map of survival. Years later, travelers on Highway 60 still talk about the ranch with the hand-painted sign, Hawthorne Sanctuary, and no brands, only belonging. They say if you arrive at dusk, you'll find an old man on the porch teaching a little girl with braids to rope a sawhorse. They say the coffee is always hot and the tamales are free on Sundays. They say the woman who runs the place has a scar on her arm shaped like a running horse, and if you ask, she'll tell you it's not a tattoo. It's a reminder. That every chain can be reforged into a bridge. That kindness is not weakness but the strongest currency on earth. That family is not blood but the choice to show up, day after day, with coffee and courage and a heart wide enough to hold the whole broken world. And if you stay long enough, you might hear the old man weep, not from shame this time, but from the sheer, impossible weight of being loved back.